Candidates Night. I want to start by thanking every one of these gentlemen for your time and your willingness to serve your community, and they deserve a round of applause. So our candidates this evening are Johnny Estes, Al Bishop, Pat Cloutier, Victor McLeod, Norm Peterson, and Larry Cordell. And as the evening, first of all, let's go ahead and start this thing right. I'm going to ask Fred Drysdale, if you would, to pray for us.
Would you pray with me? Our Heavenly Father, we're just so thankful that you have given us a great place to live. Thank you for the people that live here, everybody is concerned about the issues here. We just ask now that you just guide and direct us in this meeting. We lift up the candidates and Father, just bless them. We pray this in the name of Jesus.
Thank you, Fred. All right. A couple of things just to start the evening off. The table right here in the foyer, or the foyer, has committee slips on it. So if you're interested in serving on a committee, I would encourage you to do so. It's a great experience, and it gives you an opportunity to have a voice in your community, to be of service to your community. And it's also a really good way to plug in and kind of figure out what's going on. I know on the committees that I'm personally involved with, and I know some of the other board members do as well, at every single one of the committees, we'll just have a download session where we'll field questions from our people. You can find out what's going on straight from the board, straight from the general manager and staff and administration. And so it's just it's a really good way to plug in on the ground level for the association. So the way the evening is going to go is we will field questions from you. Now, the only request that I have is that all questions be submitted in writing. We're not going to have a time to get to every single one of the questions. Let me share with you how we filter through the questions. If throughout the evening you have a question that, I didn't think about it until just now, write it down, raise it up. One of us will come and get it from you and bring it back, and we'll go through them together. There are some questions that are going to be duplicate questions or are close enough that we may weed one of them out. I've been doing this for several years, and inevitably we will get a question that is probably inappropriate to go through, and so that one will be weeded out. There are some questions that are good questions for your board of directors. We've got a couple of active board members. We have a returning past board member that it would be unfair for us to field a question that a board member would have a very knowledgeable, rehearsed, well-prepared answer for, and then that would catch some of these other guys that haven't been serving on the board flat-footed. So while it may be a great question, it's probably going to be weeded out as well. So that's going to be to the discretion of the board as we go through those. But we're not trying to not answer your question, not trying to duck or dodge anything. As a matter of fact, most of us will be here after this is all said and done. If you would like to come and ask a question of one of the board members, you're more than welcome to do so. As with the potential candidates here, they will also probably hang around for a little bit afterwards, and if you want to come and hear more about as they ask them to expound upon an answer or just kind of get to know them a little bit better, you're welcome to do that as well. So we are going to start. Have we collected questions yet, Matt, Rick?
Not yet.
Okay.
You want to collect them now?
Yeah, go ahead and pick them up, and let's start bringing them in and filtering through. We are going to allow the candidates now to introduce themselves. There's a 3-minute time limit for your introduction, gentlemen. And we'll start with Johnny, and then move on that direction, then we'll go into the questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Welcome, everybody, and welcome to other candidates, and good luck to all of us. And I appreciate everyone coming tonight, and I especially appreciate the club setting this up because it's got it picked up pretty nicely. And my name is Johnny Estes, and I live with my wife Betty Jo. We've been here since August of 2015. We bought our house in January, but we didn't move here till 2015. Usually in just about every situation you get what you see, but sometimes not so much. Because of, well, there's 6 of us here tonight, and only 3 of us are going to get elected. And if you were electing me on my public speaking, I wouldn't make it. When you elect a board member, you're giving them a huge responsibility. You're giving them a ton of authority. And then after that, you got to hope that they're going to be accountable for all the decisions and actions that they take. De Cordova homeowners are the ones that elect the board members, and that's the people I'm catering to. I'm going to represent the homeowners. I'm going to be your voice. And I will represent the homeowners. I don't care if you're a golfer or a fisherman or a volleyball player, or just relaxing, I could care less. I want to represent you. The structure for the government here at De Cordova, and this is my understanding, is really very simple. You've got the homeowners, and they're the ones that really rule the roost. And then you got the board of directors that work for the homeowners, and you've got a general manager that works for the board of directors. Some things have gone pretty askew and wrong in the last couple of years, and like one of them is the golf course, and I really don't know if you can pinpoint to what caused this or anything else, and I don't think we'll ever find out. But we all need to hope and pray that the grass comes back on our greens and our tee boxes and our fairways. Everyone here tonight is one of the things we want to stress if I were to get elected is transparency from the board of directors and also from the staff here at De Cordova. Like one of the things we talk about is long-range planning. Nobody seems to know what the long-range plan is because nobody gets to see it. And if I'm elected, that's we're definitely going to want to see that. And with that said, I want to work with people, and I can change my opinion at any time. I mean, everything doesn't have to be my way, but I'm not a yes man. And if I make a decision, I'll stand by it. If I make a miscue, I'll own up to it.
Johnny, that's 3 minutes.
Very good, because I'm just about done. But with that said, I will be accountable, and I'll accept accountability for everything that I may do. Thank you very much, and thank you.
Good evening. I'm Al Bishop, and I've served on your board for the last 3 years. I've served on numerous committees before that. I am rerunning for the board because I feel like there's a lot of work still to be done to make this place even better than it already is. I do feel like this is the best place in Texas and other places. It is a tremendous place to live, mainly because of the people. There's a lot of things coming up shortly that's going to require our working together to improve things in this community. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of thought on your part. It's going to take a lot of thought on the boards. And I am asking for your vote to continue the plans that the board has put into place. Roads, maintenance, the clubhouse, the golf course, the marina. All of these things are coming. There are things that should have been addressed 20 years ago and started plans then. They weren't. The time to start is now. We can't wait any longer. We have to start on this infrastructure and get it done. I am part of a committee that has been working on that. And I would like to continue on that committee to see this done. Not for me, but for you and the people that follow after me that live here. So I am asking for your vote to remain on the board to see if these things get done to make this an even better community. Thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Pat Cloutier, and I know most of you here. I previously served on the board up until last year. The previous year, I've not been on the board. But during that time that I was on the board, I was the main finance guy, and that's why I'm running again. We are planning on spending a lot of money and effort on things like our golf course, this building, and all the other things that Al mentioned where we need to really look at things hard. I have a distinct ability that I think is beneficial in that I can look at a lot of numbers and make sense out of them and present them so that other people can understand them. My whole background is finance. I worked for 35 years in corporate finance, titles like VP Finance, International Mergers, Director of International Mergers and Acquisitions. I've done it all in corporate finance. And I think that I bring that distinct ability that no one else who's running or is currently on the board can, where I can filter through numbers and let everybody know exactly what the numbers mean. Can we afford it? Is it the right thing to do given our financial position? And that, in a nutshell, is why I'm running. Thank you very much.
I've only got about 15 pages of notes here, so I think I can get it done in about 3 minutes. My name is Victor McLeod. I've lived in Decordova Bend for the past 22 years. During that time as a single father, I was able to raise a son in this terrific neighborhood. Actually, within this exact room, about 3 years ago, I was at an event with the Club Vendor. Everybody's familiar with the Calcutta, I'm sure. Across the room, I saw the prettiest girl I'd ever seen in my life, and that girl is now my wife. It was Kim Drysdale at the time. So together, we have a blended family. We have 3 sons and 1 daughter. Kim, if you don't mind, would you stand up and just wave at everybody? The speech. So personally, I feel like we're very, very fortunate to live here in Decordova. We've got numerous amenities, country clubs, security, recreational activities. Kim and I utilize a workout facility 3 times a week, and I try to play as much golf as I possibly can, as long as the weather allows. Personally, I am a graduate of the University of Texas at Arlington with a BBA in marketing. My work experience has been in the medical sales field. I've also spent a lot of time in sales training. Worked 14 years with Johnson & Johnson, 13 years with Smith & Nephew. The last 5 of those was spent as the training manager for an advanced wound care division. My goal, and I can't believe that this hasn't been picked on by other campaigns in the past. My goal in running for the board is really to keep Decordova great. It seems like a very good thing for, surprised the president hasn't locked on that campaign process. Just try. Really what I want to do is I want to keep our property values strong. I'd like to protect the assets and continue to make this an attractive place for newcomers, for new folks to the neighborhood. So in protecting the assets of Decordova, I'd like to work closely with the golf course committee, the members, the staff. We've got to get these greens returned back to the condition that we all expect. Regarding the other assets, keeping security strong, our street in good repair, those are key goals. Also look forward to getting involved with the various committees, long-term plans, including the clubhouse, tennis court, marina, all the amenities within Decordova. I believe listening to the input of the members individually and through the committee-based structure that we've built here is critical. I'll be transparent in every conversation that I have with any member. My goal really here is to represent all of Decordova. The final goal is for me to understand and communicate to the membership where the $17 a month, the long-range capital fund, is going. I'd like to communicate the needs of this community and help develop a plan that meets those needs. So vote Victor McLeod. I appreciate your support.
My name is Norm Peterson. I'm running for re-election to the Board of Directors. I'm running for the same reason that Al Bishop suggested. We have done a number of good things in the past 3 years. We've got a number of good plans on the agenda and the horizon, and we want to see those plans brought to fruition. As far as I personally am concerned, not much has changed in the past 3 years. I'm a little older, a little lighter. I meant to say I'm a little wiser. That's just probably not true. I'm just a little lighter. Bottom line is this. I think our board has done a great job in the last 3 years. And if you agree with that, I would like you to vote for me again, because I will pledge more of the same. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Larry Cordell. Me and my wife Judy, we live here in Day Cordova, live in Serco. Between both of us, we have 7 kids and a whole lot of grandkids. We moved here at the end of 2013, and this past year I've been involved in the golf committee. I was raised over here, and if anyone knows where Itasca and Hillsboro is, that's where I was raised, in Itasca, mighty Wampuscats. And my father was a farmer, so therefore I was raised on a farm, worked on a farm, and after I got out of school, I had some friends that were members of the Texas Air National Guard. So I joined it, stayed in there for about 6 years. You know, with the National Guard, you go once a month, you go two weeks a year, and all of that as the National Guard does. I was an engine mechanic on the old planes. We had the old planes, the KC-97s, if anybody's familiar. I don't even think they fly them anymore. In early 1974, I got a job at Miller Brewing Company in Fort Worth. While there, I held many positions in a couple of different departments. I was on the negotiating team for a contract between Miller and the union. We went through that, come out decent. And through the years, I was on many other committees. As anybody knows, when you're in a big company like that, you have committees for committees and committees to determine when you're going to go to the next committee. I was on a few good committees, whereas more planning committees and all of that, when we got to go to the other plants to see how they do things compared to the way we did things. And that was interesting. And after 42 years there, I called it quits and retired a few years ago. Said, right about 2 years before I retired is when we moved here. And you know, we just love this place. I think this is a special place. We have a lot of amenities and a lot of good people here. And this is, to me, this board's position to take care of it. Take care of all the amenities, including everything, and the people. And try to make everybody happy, which, as anybody knows, that's pretty impossible to get everybody happy. But with all those things said, and everybody else has mentioned the different amenities and everything, I want to come here and be on this board and work for you, work as hard as I can for you, to please you, and do what needs to be done to keep this place a great place, and keep this place going where that you're proud of it and you're proud to bring people here to see it. Thank you.
All right. So Johnny, we're going to start with you, and then we'll just allow, when you're done, to pass your mic to Al and on down the line. And then we'll start with Larry on the next question and work up that direction and kind of mix and match it, okay? So, our first question of the evening. Can you describe the biggest disagreement you have had in a group or committee setting and how you resolved it?
My biggest disagreement was probably when I first started serving on the Finance Committee. And I've just got one thing to say about the Finance Committee. When I first started last May, I really felt like I was a lone person in there. And they called me Joe Public, thanks to Terry over there. And, but by the time, like the last meeting, and even today, and whatever, I served on that Finance Committee with a bunch of great people, and we all seem to be on the same page, and we're all thinking alike. And but in the beginning, we didn't see eye to eye, but pretty much do now. Thank you.
Repeat that question, please.
And this can be in De Cordova, outside of De Cordova, but can you describe the biggest disagreement you have had in a group or committee and how you resolved it?
My background is in education. I spent 43 years in education. Spent a lot of time on committees, school board meetings, so on and so forth. And my biggest disagreement was in a committee meeting with my boss. And she and I were not on the same page on this deal. But when that meeting was over, then I asked her if we could talk privately, and we went in. We sat down and we aired out our differences as to so we could get on the same page. It takes give and take, and I feel like that from that point on, we both understood that we were not going to be yes people. We were going to express our own opinion, and we worked together for many years and accomplished a lot. So I feel like that probably one of my bigger assets is being able to talk to people one-on-one and get us on the same page.
Similar to Al, my probably biggest experience of the disagreement was between my boss and I in a committee, and he wanted me to back him right, wrong, or indifferent. And anybody that knows me, that's not me. We had to work it out. We talked about it over and over and over again. He still expected me to be a yes man, and I just couldn't do it. We finally worked it out. It took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of discussions. But as in any conflict, the only way you can resolve it is to talk about it, put everybody's position out on the table, and try to find a common ground.
That kind of sounds like an interview question. What does this job pay? Okay, so as far as conflict resolution, I think probably the more that you're around people, it's going to become pretty obvious who is going to go against a new idea or a new concept that you're trying to push. So trying to get that stuff worked out in a negotiating style way, like Al had eloquently stated earlier, going to that person before a critical vote actually has to take place and sort through those differences, and then find out where everything lays at that point. So try to resolve the issue before it really gets to it.
Difficult question for me. I can't ever recall having a disagreement with anyone. Biggest disagreement I can recall was some years ago when I was managing editor for the daily newspaper in Ponca City, Oklahoma. Been there for a while, thought I was doing a really good job. And the owner of the paper asked me to come by his office, which I did. And he said, "You're not doing a very good job." Well, I disagreed. And as you can imagine, that was an interesting disagreement, but we resolved it by him saying, "I'm not going to pay you anymore." I thought that's a good way to handle this, so I left, but we were on good terms.
I don't really know if it's ever happened to us, to me out here at De Cordova in the golf committee.
but I know back at work, you know, we had, like I said, committees for committees. And we had some where we'd disagree on things, and usually it took the two people. I know one time I had one in a committee where two people just couldn't agree with nothing. And so I ended up taking them, and we had a meeting, and once the two got to talking with each other, then they would resolve their own problem. And we went on with that committee and never had any more problem with either one of them. And you know, basically, to resolve problems, you just most of the time have to go head to head and talk. You know, don't argue or gripe, just talk. I mean, anybody can usually figure out their problem if they just talk with each other.
Time, why are you running again or running as your first time? And Larry, we'll start with you and work that direction.
As I said in my little speech, I want to run for the board so that I can run and work for the people. Bring, you know, and get our amenities a lot better. There's some amenities, like everybody knows, that needs to be worked on. Golf course included, marina, you know, and there's other things that might be coming down the line, rumors that you hear, pickleball court, things like that. I mean, you know, I want to be a part of making this place better, is the simplest way I can put it.
I'm running for re-election for exactly the same reason Al Bishop stated that he's running for re-election. Not of unfinished business. We have the renovation of the clubhouse staring us in the face. We've got streets and grounds that desperately need repairing. We've got issues still with the golf course. And those are just a few of the things that we have started dealing with as a board, and I am very keen on seeing those things through to fruition.
I certainly don't want to be repetitive and just continue, you know, telling you guys the same thing that you're hearing over and over again. But if I had to put it in a couple of sentences, I would just say keeping this a great community to live in. Also keeping the property value strong. That comes with the whole list of amenities that we talked about. It's a special place. It's rare. I'm sure there's a lot of people here that have been on the campus at Texas A&M. You know, what are one of the things that you recognize whenever you go on a campus or the campus at Texas A&M? Besides the Aggies, they say something to you, right? Howdy is the big tagline that you get. Well, here, just by driving in, you wave at the security guy. This is a very rare neighborhood where people still wave at one another. You know, let alone know your neighbor and that kind of thing. So I want to keep this as, you know, good a place as it's been for me for the past 22 years.
Hard not to be repetitive, but the reason I'm running is I love this place. I can't think of any place else in the world I'd rather live than DCBE. And I want to keep it that way. I want to keep it that way for not only for me, but all the generations that are going to come after us. And that means protecting and building and maintaining what we have now. And doing it, you know, with a tight budget that we always have, and making sure that we spend our money wisely so that all those assets that attract us all are there for not just for us, but for everyone that follows.
Let me think about this a second. I want to make sure I phrase this right. I'm rerunning for the board because there are still things that need to be accomplished. There are things that we have plans in the works that need to continue to get done. We have to be financially responsible. We only have a limited amount of money. I think part of the reason I rerun is because I believe that you have to work to serve where you live. This is a place that before me, people became and built this clubhouse and they built this golf course and they made a place for me to come And it's my turn now to repay what they did in the past for the future. And that's kind of why I'm rerunning. I still have work that I think needs to be done in here that I can be a part of to help accomplish.
I don't know who asked that question, but I think it was pointed at me. And the reason I say that is I'm 76 years old, and if I thought everything was going exactly like it should be going, I wouldn't even be sitting up here tonight. But I don't think everything's going exactly like it should be going, and I'm only one person. And but I do everything I can and work with anybody I can, try to get things really on the right path. And while everybody else sitting here is talking about what they'd like to continue doing, and they're all right. There's a lot of things that need to be done here. And I doubt seriously if anybody could get it done in 3 years. But the reason I'm here is because, like I said, I'm 76 years old, and I want to be on the board. I want my voice heard. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen, this question comes from the perspective of you guys being golfers, all right? So I'm going to ask you a golfing question, and we'll just roll with that. We're going to start with Pat. We'll move to Al, head up, and then we'll come back to Vic and head down. All right, golfers on the panel. Are you aware that groups are still manipulating the system by putting in for more tee times than they need in order to group together? Do you see this as a problem?
Well, it's a tough question. I don't see it as I personally don't see it as a problem. We all work under the same rules. And if somebody puts in an extra tee time because they're afraid that they're not going to get the one they want, they don't want to be completely shut out. So they're trying to protect themselves and protect their ability to utilize our golf course. And that's, not all of us are here for golf, but that's why a great deal of us are. It's our most utilized amenity, and we all want to be able to get it. So I understand the issue, but I don't see it as a problem.
I have a group that I play with on Tuesdays that has more than 30 players in it. I have a group that I play with on Friday that has more than 30 players in it. That takes 6 tee times. In order for those groups to play the games they play, they need to be consecutive. It's really hard to do when you can only put in for a certain amount of tee times. So there are times when we probably do put in for more tee times than we need because it is our choice to play that many people want to play in our groups. I don't see that it's an issue as long as everybody, there are times when our tee times get drawn out, it's a lottery system. Well, we play at 1:20, 1:30 in the afternoon up to 2 o'clock. Sometimes we get drawn out, we get to play at 10. But if it's strictly a lottery system, I'm not sure that there's an issue. The main issue is not everybody can get a tee time at the time they want. We have plenty of tee times. You can look at the tee sheet and you can play at this course anytime you want after 2 o'clock. But if you want to play at 10, yes, that's going to be an issue. So no, I do not see that there's a problem with people putting in the amount of tee times they need to play their groups.
I think Al did a real good job of explaining that just now. We only have like 12 people in our group, and I was putting in, a tee time with 2 additional groups. But now then, like today, we had 2 groups filled up, but we were about an hour apart. But if somebody wants to play golf, and Like if I want to play at 9 o'clock, I might have a problem with that, but if I just want to play golf, go play at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I agree with Al 100% on that.
I really wish I could answer this question differently to, get you on my side here. I am new to retirement. I'm also new to 4Ts. I've had the luxury of my father handling the tee times for us, for weekends for years and years and years. But the fact that the system is a lottery system, I've been on the other end of it too, where your name isn't picked. You get that email. The fact that it is a lottery system seems to be, I'll say this, it's a big improvement over where it was before 4Ts. Because that was a brother-in-law situation. This is a massive improvement. If there's ways that we can move this to better, I wouldn't be opposed to that either.
Interesting that the question has been posed to all of us, and all 6 of us up here are golfers. Whether or not this is a problem, I don't know. I would call it an issue rather than a problem. And I'm not trying to downplay it. I say that only because the system is being gamed in some circumstances. If you are not getting a tee time, then it's a problem. And the way to deal with that is to talk to the pro shop, talk to the golf committee, and then eventually to the board of directors so that it can be dealt with. We have dealt with it in the past, and the system we have now is what we have devised through people coming to us and complaining. And if we need to, we'll deal with it again in the future. But like I say, I don't see it as a problem now. I see it as an issue.
I usually get tee times. We have a group called Jinx Little Group, and we usually have 20 to 25 people play. And we put in for the tee times and we get them. And as far as the issue of it, I would say that 2 or 3 months ago, we had a lot more issue of lots of people getting kicked out, lots of people not getting tee times. But for some reason, in the last couple of months, it's kind of seemed like it's worked itself out. And it's a lot better, and a lot fewer are getting kicked out. And that's about all I know about it.
What do you feel is your finest quality to be on this board, and how is that quality going to benefit DCBE?
I would have to say, I'm a big supporter of this neighborhood. Again, if buying a house in a neighborhood isn't enough of a commitment, just a year ago, I put the exact amount of money to totally refurbish my house. So I made the equal commitment as what I did 22 years ago when I first bought it to remodel the home. I love this place. I'm willing, my plans are to be here till the end. So I'm committed to the neighborhood. I've met nothing but good people here. I've played golf with probably half of the people in this room, and at least half the people in this room. So, I want to serve every member of the community. But I ultimately would like for us to get our amenities back up to par.
I say that what was the term that we used? Biggest what? Attribute. Just count against my time, Jay.
Finest quality.
Well, I'm glad my wife's not answering. In all honesty, I'd say my finest quality is that I love Lake Cordova Bend Estates. And I can honestly say that I have been on the board 3 years and have served with 15 board members, and that every single one of them loved Lake Cordova. and that no one was on the board with an axe to grind, with a specific issue to see accomplished, and that every time the decision had to be made, the decision was made with what they felt was the best interests at DCBE in mind. I would like to think that every time I cast a vote, it was with the best interest of DCBE in mind.
See, I think on what, for is my best quality, I think my best quality, and some of you here might know me better, but I think my best quality is getting along with people. I seem like I try to get along with people, people get along with me. And a lot of times when you have problems going on, sitting and talking to somebody or talking with them can always solve a lot of problems. And I think that's probably the best in me.
Like everybody else up here, I love DCBE or I wouldn't be here. So that kind of goes without saying. But I think my best quality is honesty. If you ask me a question and you're afraid of the answer, you probably shouldn't have asked it. I'm going to be brutally honest when asked a question. That's just my nature. I try to joke around and have fun with people, but if somebody asks me a serious question, they're going to get a truthful answer.
My best quality probably that is my commitment to getting things done and getting them done the right way. I spend a lot of time with the board thinking about the issues and making sure that I am trying to make the best decision for all of DCBE. So my best quality is probably my commitment to this community and to myself to make sure that I'm doing the best job.
Well, I'm going to repeat what Pat said. I'd like to think that I'm as honest as the day is long, and I want to keep it that way. And I've served on a board for the last 15 years, and it's the Airborne Maintenance Technician Association. As a matter of fact, I was one of the founders of it. But I'll tell you what, I can go anywhere around, and you talk about loving a place, where can you go to and get the same things that you got here for this little amount of money that we're talking about? And if I can be on the board and keep that going, then that's exactly what I want to do. Thank you.
Okay, Al, we haven't had one to start with you, so this is yours to start, and then we'll go down and come back around a circle and pick you up, Johnny. Being a board member means you are here to serve all members. What is one change that you would make to affect everyone?
Nobody's talking when he's
There is no one change that I could make that would affect everyone here. We are too diverse a population. I mean, we go from little kids to 90 years old. There is no one change that could be made out here that would affect everyone out here. That being said, I'm sorry, but I just can't give you a better answer than that. There is no one change that affects everyone out here.
Let me rephrase the question.
Yeah.
Al, do you feel that there is a change that you could make that would affect the greater good?
Yes.
I do feel like there's a change that could be made out here that would affect the greater good. I think that there are, over the lifetime of this community, it's been here 50 years. We're going to celebrate our 50-year anniversary this year in July. that there's a lot of the infrastructure and things like that out here that needs to be rebuilt, remodeled, revised, renovated, redone for the coming generation after us. Someone was good enough to build this place for us, and we need to continue on making this the best place possible, and that's going to require a lot of work and renovation, and I think it starts with us.
Like Al said, there is no one thing that can be done here, but we need to get more people involved. I think right now we have a lot of people who are just sit back. They don't volunteer for committees. They don't come to the meetings. Look around us. We're 1,600 strong. What is there, 100 people here? Maybe, if we stretch it. The one thing that we can do for the greater good is get those other folks that aren't here involved. We need, the more people we have involved in our community, the stronger our community will be.
So the one thing, if just given that, I'd say streets. The other thing I would say is more transparency from everybody here in the front of the room.
This will not be a popular statement, but the one thing that we can do that will affect everyone at De Cordova and will have a tremendous benefit and a tremendous effect for good, we need to raise dues. We are paying such a small amount for such a tremendous amount of amenities. We're not going to be able to continue like that. We raised, thank you. We raised dues 2 years ago. It got us even. You'll get your chance. I will advocate raising dues, and every time it's presented to the populace, I will cast a positive vote.
I think that one thing for the greater good is sometimes, as everybody knows out here, you always hear a lot of rumors, and a lot of people doesn't know if it's just rumor, if it's true, or if it's going to happen, or if it happened. You know, transparency. You know, there was a big rumor going around here not too long ago about the city, and you know, finally, I guess, I hope that they put a head on it and stopped it. But you know, a lot to me that would help a lot of people is you know, trying to cut off some of these rumors if you could ever figure out how you could do it. You know, because then you get everybody stirred up over something that's not even happening or going to happen. And you know, to me, that would help a lot of people.
Well, Vic and Larry both stole what I wanted to say. And I really think that one thing we need to hear really, really bad is transparency. And a lot of it, that's from the board of directors, from the staff. And like Larry was trying to say, if you've got transparency, secrecy causes rumors, and rumors bring on problems. And these are things that we don't really need to have. So I really think transparency is the way to go.
Okay. This one, Johnny, we're back at the top. We're gonna start with you and work this direction, and then we'll start with Larry on the next one and work our way up again. All right, more often than not, some people find out things that are being done around DCBE through the grapevine. What are you going to do to make sure information gets to members before things are changed?
Well, we're back to transparency again. Well, like I think there's going to be some changes to the bylaws in the future. And I really think that before you make a change to anything, you need to get And like somebody just brought up, what if we got 100 people here tonight? Well, we've got 1,600 families living here. So I don't know how you would do this, but you've got to make things visible to the public here, to all of the residents here. And I think it was Benny that said to me one day, what are you going to do, go drag them out of their house? I don't know, but you can't wait till people find out via the grapevine, because there again, we've got problems and people are getting angry. Thank you.
This question to me, Norm and I have a lot more, and Pat, because he was on the board before, we have a lot more information on this than the people that are not on the board. Because they're talking, I hear them, I've heard all three of them talk about transparency. Everything that is done in the board is put in the board minutes and in the board notes that is published every week after the board meeting. We use the magazine, everyone gets the magazine, Life in the Bend. We use the website to put all kinds of information on it. We use, we use our Facebook, our DCB, not Friends and Neighbors, DCB Facebook, it's all put on there. Transparency is not the issue, because we put it out in every form and fashion that we can. We do it in email blasts. We put all that information out there. Committee notes are put on the website. Everything is out there. It is not new, it's not secret. This board does not do secrets. What people do is they interpret what they read, or people will say, well, I heard this from so-and-so, and so therefore it must be gospel. Transparency is we're trying to give you the facts and put it out there for you to read, and if you have a question about it, there are 9 board members that you can call and a general manager can call to get your question answered specifically.
I wanted to say I agree and just pass on, but I agree with what Al said. And I guess, I think what bothers everyone here is the rumor mill. What percentage of the rumors that you hear are actually truthful? It's a very, very low percentage. What you hear in the rumor mill, 9 times out of 10 is so preposterous it can't happen. And there are tons of ways that communication is attempted. As Al mentioned them all, but communication is a two-way street. Somebody talks and somebody listens. That's communication. Not just putting information out there that people don't look for or want to see or read. We put the minutes, the minutes are put in along with your bill every month. It's in the magazine, it's on the bulletin board. But if you're not reading it, then you're not susceptible, or you're not accepting that attempt at communication. There are email blasts. Oh, it's just an email blast, I haven't got time to read it, and you didn't see it? Uh-oh, they didn't communicate with me. That's not the case. You gotta look at it, you gotta try to receive the communication that's out there.
I'm going to look at this question more as an opportunity. So we do have a limited number of people here tonight. We've got roughly 100, maybe 125 people. We've been challenged by several questions today. I'd like to challenge the audience. Go home tomorrow, sometime before the weekend. Try to find 2 neighbors and tell them about this meeting. Tell them about the impression you got from the 6 candidates. Get people to vote. How about that? Because even with as many people as we try to reach, there's a lot of people that just don't choose to vote. Talk to some of the neighbors that you're friends with, and share some of your thoughts or feelings about the impressions you're taking away from this event, and try to encourage more people to vote.
Question referenced the grapevine. Said, what are you going to do to make sure information gets to members before things are changed?
I think this is a two-part question. Number one is the quality and the truthfulness of information that is being put out there. I'll reference that, Pat did as well. There's a lot of stuff that's said about DeCordova, about the board of directors, about various committees that is absolutely untrue. I don't have a Facebook page, and so I don't, what's it called, DCBE, Friends and Neighbors? But sometimes my wife will take advantage of the fact that I'm sitting there reading and say, listen to this. And then for the next 20 minutes, she lets me know of all the stuff that's on the Facebook page. What trollop? What absolute trollop? The stuff is not true that you read on there, or some of it is not true. As far as making correct information available, I think we already use every means to convey information that we have available to us, and when other means present themselves, we will utilize them as well.
Well, I believe when you get that question all the way down here to me, most all of your answers has been answered. You know, I don't know the answer to find out how you can end them, do away with them. But some of the deals that Al said, you know, that you get all the blasts, you get all the stuff, and it just has to get down to some people looking and reading. Or, you know, if you find out something you don't know about, go to a board of director and ask them. Go to the manager and ask them. And that's the way to find out if it's true or if it's not.
Okay, Larry, keep it warm there. It's your turn. All right. Do you plan, well, would you support expanding the marina, especially the number of boat slips if elected?
Well, there again on the marina, you would have to go into the money part of it. Do you have the money to do it? Maybe we could. I've heard before at one time that somebody wanted to expand it. This might be one of these other rumors. And the people across the water over there didn't want any more boat slips, boat sheds out in front of their house. So, would I be for it? Yes, if we could do it in a way where it would, you know, appease everybody. Because we do need them, because I've heard we had a big list for boats to be put in a slip.
Yes. I mean, I don't know how you expect it. Is this thing on? Okay. I don't know how you expand on that except to ditto what Larry said. Putting more boat slips in, expanding the marina is going to cost money. And is that a priority or should it be a priority? But I would support it even though I don't have a boat. Hell, I can't even swim. But I can
Certainly, it's worth. So the marina question is certainly worth a discussion.
The finance guy's gonna come out at me on this one. When you look around at what we have here at DCB, we have 2 profit centers that make profit. Everything else is a financial drain. The bar makes money, the dining room loses money, and the marina makes money. So if we can expand on that and we can make an additional profit from the marina, then we should do it.
Yes, I would support expanding the marina, but I would also be cognizant of the fact that there are people that already live on that marina that we're going to have to make it where it's not intrusive on their view because they bought that house long before. So, but I do think we need to expand the marina. It's going to be a hard job to do.
Well, as the finance guy Pat said there, and I sit on the finance committee right now, and if you want to expand the marina, the first thing I'd want to know is where you're going to get the money from. But he also brought up another good, I know about how many the waiting list is right now. It's like 170 or something like that. And that brings in good revenue if they have a place to put their boat. So I think a marina that expanded would pay for itself in a pretty short time. But also you got to think about what Al said. I don't want a marina up in front of my house. Of course, I don't live on the lake, so I don't have to worry about that.
Thank you, Nova. Thank you all for being here. We appreciate your thoughtful questions, your participation in the evening. We heard an encouragement from someone up here. You be part of the effective communication that we need to have in this association. Talk to your neighbors. Talk to your friends. Talk to others who live around here that you play golf with, that you play bridge with, whatever you do in the fitness center, and share what you experienced here this evening. Thank you. You're dismissed.